4 years served. The time I served, well, in 2001, the towers were struck and all that was going on. I was in the process of getting in the military, and I was laying on the couch at my mom's, and she woke me up, and I saw the second plane go into the tower, the second tower, and my recruiter gave me a call, and he asked if I was coming in because I was supposed to go to the MEPS, which is a medical processing place in St. Louis. And the reason he called is because he said 6 to 7 recruits, their parents had already called in and said that they weren't going to allow their children to go in and go through the processing part, because after processing, you're sworn in, that's it. And I said I'd be there tomorrow. Long to the short, went to Iraq in 2003. So the time at which I served, it was the tragedy of 9/11, and that catapulted me straight to Iraq in 2003.
I served 7 years. I had 6 on my contract, and I was stop lossed for 1. I was in college at the time and was kind of waiting to be called up. They put us on standby, and then they didn't call us up for the first round, which they called OIF 1. That was the first kind of push into Iraq and then up into Baghdad. And then I went for the second round. So they started, I think, in January of '04, moving troops into to replace the first rotation of troops that went in. And so I was activated in December, actually November was called up, and then we went on orders in December, and then we served a year boots on ground overseas in Iraq. During the time that I served, it was primarily peacetime. So I actually was privileged to serve at a few peacetime missions. It was like Operation Pelican when I went to Belize, and was support for logistical support. They were drilling wells and doing humanitarian type things.
Every time we send troops somewhere, there is a collateral good that happens. And you see a lot of bad stuff in TV. A lot of the good things, a lot of the high notes, they're not brought to the forefront. It was like knowing that you removed a tyrant from office, and I'm speaking about Saddam. The common people were completely scared in Baghdad. They were petrified. Every home had to have a mural of him in it. If it didn't, they'd suffer a major grievance, if not loss. Which in tyranny, you have, there's like no rules, and bad and what we would refer to as evil comes to the forefront.
The current withdrawal from Afghanistan is so complex, and I think a lot of the American public, it seems like we all felt like we've been over there a long time. There's a lot of resources going to the region and to Afghanistan in particular. You know, we know that Congress repeatedly asks this question every time we have to sign off on funding. What's going on? How stable is the region? How's the government doing, the newly set up government? And you have to let them stand at some point. On the other hand, I think a vast amount of people, and I'm one of them, would agree that the withdrawal was not handled in a way that represents ourselves as leaders of the free world. It makes us, I have serious issues with keeping our word to people who've risked their lives to stand by our side. And And I'm also glad that I don't have to make those decisions, because I think that I can look at one perspective and have an opinion, but there's probably many more that I'm unaware of. I don't know that I would have felt different about the withdrawal had we gone through it sooner. I think that even over a year ago, when President Trump was really talking about meeting, and they met with the Taliban, it was something that that I was worried about. I don't know that a timeline is the wisest way to approach this. I think conditions are a better way to make decisions. And so sooner or later, I don't know that matters. I think it needs to be based on conditions. And then if those conditions aren't met, what does that look like? And then having a plan for that.
Unfortunately, it does make us look weaker, but that's what you're going to get anytime you have a fight in the schoolyard. Everybody on the outside is going to see that fight, and they're going to see the one that had friends come in and try to pull it away. Well, that makes that person look weak, unfortunately. It could be your friends like sticking up for you or whatever. It is what it is. Unfortunately, it will make us look weaker to other countries.